Hello, Shrewdness fans. Welcome to the latest Shrewdness podcast. I'm Prue, joined by Chiz and Dex this week. We're going to talk about Week 7 results from the NFL and in your latest Guillotine leagues. Unfortunately, we have some bad news to report.
I have got no head.
Dun, dun, dun.
We have our first casualty of the 2024 Guillotine season.
This is very unexpected and disappointing. I'm a cautionary tale to all of you Guillotine players out there. I had over $900 in Fab, still sitting there unspent. I did try to use it. I just didn't bid high enough. And honestly, I shouldn't have needed it. Because if you looked at my team and what was projected to happen, I was lulled into a false sense of security, thinking, I'm not going to win this week, but I'm certainly not the worst team out there. And that's when it happens. That's when it happens. Just when you think.
So do a little rehash for us, Chiz. Go into your spuds and studs of the week on your team. What happened? What happened? How'd you lose that head of yours?
Man.
One stud, right?
Here's the other thing is you should never, ever, ever lose a Guillotine week when you have a guy that puts up over 30 points. And I did. So
that's half your score.
Jahmyr Gibbs literally got over half of my team score. 32 points.
Woo.
You think that should be good. That alone should be good. But you got to have other people at least show up to play ball. And the thing that really was the nail in my coffin, well, there were two that I would say. I had some guys, that were a little – you can't really count on an Austin Eckler. You can't really count on a Demario Douglas. But Devontae Smith, yeah, you should count on more than 0.8. That's for sure. More than one catch for negative 2 yards. Jaden Reed, more than 2 catches for 10 yards. For sure.
Yeah. Especially when Jordan Love throws 3 touchdowns and 40.
Right? But the one that really got me was C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, who had been pretty dependable, double digits at least. He was at least going to pull in 12, 13, 14 points. Put up 5. He had 86 passing yards.
Yeah.
86. And so you think, well, he ran a lot then. No.
Well, he ran a lot for
yards.
CJ Stroud.
19 yards rushing, 86 yards passing, and 0 touchdowns. Not even an accidental oops, here's a 3-yarder to my tight end. Yep. Nothing.
Welcome back, Joe Mixon.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, all that put me at a total of 62. I had 3 double-digit players on the bench, including a guy who I had leaned on all year. And for whatever reason, I finally gave up on Justice Hill. He
broke
put up
back.
14 burger. That was he was my broke back mountain, and I finally quit him, and he puts up a 14 burger, which would have saved me for sure.
Who would you have benched, though?
Yeah, but I tried to bench the last second. I tried to bench Austin Eckler. I tried to bench him, had trouble with the site. But you know what? Even if I was going to try to put in Tutu Atwell. It was only a 7-point difference. I lost by 10. Wouldn't have mattered. So that makes me feel a little bit better. But, when you look at it logically, I started the right guys, I think. I started the right guys. Rashad Bateman went off, had 22 points.
Can't count on that guy. That's also a 1-for-7 guy who's done it multiple weeks.
Totally. So, it's one of those cases where I feel like I don't have any. The only regret I had was not changing the lineup out a little earlier, but it wouldn't have mattered. So I can't really even say that's a regret. So at the end of the day, it's one of those that just happens. Yeah. Just happens. You plan for it, you do it. Could I have been more aggressive in my bidding to try and get a free agent? I was trying to get a couple wideouts when they were up, and I didn't bid enough for them.
They went for so much, though.
It was an ungodly amount.
I bid absurd amounts on them, above what I would have done, and I was losing by 100. All right. You know what? I don't need these guys apparently because I'm not going to get one guy with all my fab.
No.
Then when it gets down to it, I won't be able to get anybody later.
I mean, it was
win with
one of those deals where it's like, I don't feel like, what I did was an error. I feel like I played it the right way, and I still got cut. So sometimes it just happens. But it still sucks because when you think you've got a team that is good enough, I definitely have a team, and I even think Dexter would say this. I know you're biased to your own team, but I even think Dexter would say, like, this team shouldn't have gone out this early.
Not this early. I didn't.
From a talent
You weren't even
level.
on my watch list.
Yeah.
I had 4 teams I was bidding between who would have the lowest score. You weren't even in them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I thought you'd be comfortably at 100 points again. So, Padog, I know you had yet another interesting week after dominating this season, going wire to wire of just kicking ass. You've had a couple Sweatvilles. You've been living in Sweatville the last 2
He's had a couple sweats.
2 of my last 3 weeks have been sweaty for sure. This week was kind of backwards. Like the first week I had to make up points and I had to, hope for enough offense to overcome the deficit.
So give the listeners a quick rundown of your team so they know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so this week I also had CJ Stroud, so not a great week. His worst week of the year. Kamara had his worst week of the year. Debo Samuel left the game sick, so he took a big fat 0. Douglas.
He never got in the game.
Yeah, he took a 2-catch performance and left at halftime because he was sick. So my 2 starting wide receivers had a total of 3 points or whatever. And then Kamara his worst week and CJ his worst week. So luckily I had Hunter Henry and McBride. I had Hunter Henry in one of my flex spots, and he put up 17 something.
Yeah.
McBride had 10, and then Saquon saved me. I ended up not getting second to last. I got 10th out of 12.
Okay.
But I was 1 point ahead of 11th and 6 points ahead of the guy that got cut. So it was fairly close until I had McBride and Harrison playing in the final game Monday night. I think McBride got the catch that put me over the top. 6 minutes left in the game or something. So
you're waiting till the last 6 minutes of the weekend though.
Yeah, that gets sweaty.
That is not.
But
fun.
it was the other. I was 20 points ahead of 2 teams, but those 2 teams had Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
I was telling you, so we were talking, and you're like, well, unless Lamar goes off for 35 points, I should be fine. I was like, I think he can do that easily.
Yes.
I didn't think it'd be the way he did it. 5 touchdowns isn't what I thought. I thought he'd have more rush yards and maybe run in a couple.
Totally.
But he didn't run in any of them, but he still had, 50 yards rushing, I think. Something. He had a pretty good day, all in all.
That's right.
I think he had 52 yards rushing.
Then I saw
34.44 points.
The multiple, 30-yard plus runs from Henry. I was sweating it at the tail end of that game. Like, holy cow, take him out.
Right? Yeah.
They kept him into the bitter end, really.
So I'm hanging tough, and I looked at my league's standings. No team has had the high points twice yet.
Wow.
That's crazy.
One team has had 2 near-death experiences, but other than that, it's been all spread around too. So we got a lot of teams that are kind of bouncing all over up and down the standings.
Yeah.
I'm still, my average points per week is 1 behind the guy that's in first in that category. So I think I have 108 points per week, and he's got 109. So I'm still near the top, but I've had a couple of close weeks.
Absolutely.
To Chiz's point, there's just a lot of factors in Guillotine fantasy football that you can't control, and you can make all the right plays, but
sometimes it's just your time.
That's right.
It's a brutal week because you got to go through. I've gone through the stages of grief over the last 24 hours. Actually, I had kind of pre-staged because I knew that I had to have everything. I had to have everything break right on Monday night to
almost. Say Flowers went out for a minute. That would have done it.
Say Flowers would have stayed out, I would have been okay. And he decided to come back in the game that you're destroying the other team. Why would you come back in the game?
Yeah. And then Cade Otten put you away. He did the knockout
Cade
punch.
Otten. I will remember that name for many years now.
It's kind of like Glass Joe knocking out Little Mike. It's like that's not the guy you'd expect to give the last.
Cade Otten,
just kind of pushed over the dead body.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was like a point and a half ahead, and I was like, okay, if he catches one ball for less than 5 yards, then I'm still in this. And there was 10 minutes left in the game, and I'm like, why would you throw to Cade Otten? And then they loaded up throwing to Cade Otten.
Did about 4 more times.
Yeah. So then you lose Godwin, and you lose. Well, that was at the end, but you lose Evans. Yeah. It's what's up.
It's pretty much Cade Otten show then.
Yeah.
Yep. And the Rashad White show. I had Rashad White on my bench.
And Rashad and Bucky Irvin. He had a crap load of receptions too.
Yeah, he did. And Dex, you were safe in the house this week. There wasn't much drama for you.
No, I've been fortunately drama free for the last few weeks. So even though I'm scrapping every week to get a lineup, my core is good. So I'm always scrapping for the last couple junk pieces of my lineup, which I do have holes. Wideout is my hole, but Jordan Love came through. If he'd stopped throwing to the other team, he'd be really good every week. But he's averaging like 2 picks a game. But he's also throwing 3 to 4 touchdowns a game. So that adds up quick. So Jordan Love and Saquon, that was a quick 42 points just out of those two. James Cook had another kind of pedestrian day, but at least he fell in the end zone. So that was good. Noah Brown, nothing, but I just need a wideout. Jordan Addison, he did fine. 3 for 66. That's all I really ever expect from him. If he gets a touchdown late, he'll go for 15 to 20. But if he doesn't, that's usually what he does.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect from Jordan Addison.
And then I got team tight ends, man. I'm just keeping them all. I got Pitts on the bench, just trying to inspire him. He is doing well, but when you have Trey McBride, Evan Ingram, and Brock Bowers, I'm just riding those flexes and tight ends.
Brock Bowers has had a great season.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm getting about 40 points a week out of those, just running tight ends out there for the flexes and tight end. And hell, man, it's good. Again, high floors because those are the guys moving those teams' chains.
Yeah.
They're the ones, they throw to them all the time. I mean, this last weekend they had 20 catches between the three of them.
Right.
So that's pretty good. And then, frankly, Kyle Pitts had 7 for 65.
What?
Yeah. So
all you had to do is bench him.
All I got to do is bench him. He's had the two best games of the season. So, that's fun.
Other Kyle Pitts users, thank you for benching him.
Exactly. They should be most welcome. They should be
right.
So, I'm just kind of trucking around, getting 100 points a week, doing my thing. And fortunately, there's other teams that usually have a worse week. I just Saquon, again, kind of like you had Gibbs. I mean, you normally feel pretty good once you have that dude bang up like a upper 20s or low 30s. But you just had you had Hurricane Milton hit you at the same time Hurricane Helene hit you.
You gotta have at least one more guy, I guess. You need at least a Pippen to your Jordan. And there was no Pippen to be found. I was Pippinless on Sunday. It was one of those. And you guys, if you've been ejected before in a Guillotine league, there's about midday on Sunday. There's this impending sense of doom that starts creeping in. You're like, I'm not scoring as much as I would feel comfortable scoring at this point in the day, and like,
why am I still at 8?
Sure. I mean, I'm backloaded, but it'd still be good to get a few more points here, and and then you start getting really. And then like, I was heading into the PM games, and I had 2 guys left that they could put up some points, and Travis Kelce was one of them, and I'm like, what? This is a Travis Kelce game. He has not had a big one for me all season, and it's against the 49ers. He's going to
That's right. Him and Kittle are going to be battling it out.
Holy cow. And he didn't catch a ball till midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, he was pretty much a Shrewdness spud this week.
3-yard little nothing, and then everything he caught was like 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, no running. It's like,
he was not stretching down the field. Not a lot of yak. Not a lot.
Although I will say, what's his name? I just blanked. The other tight end. He had
Noah Gray. He looked pretty good.
Noah Gray had a couple long catches, and I've noticed they've started using Kelce as sadly, like the decoy on some of these routes where he's cutting short and Noah Gray cuts up the seam, and they find Noah because the best linebacker takes Kelsey.
Yeah.
And so he covers Kelsey, and then you got the second linebacker trying to cover Noah.
Gray is pretty fast. He can run good routes.
Yep.
He's gonna torch a backup linebacker,
for sure,
coverage linebacker,
for sure,
a safety. I think it's just all matchups. And Patty again doesn't care about stats.
Nope.
He's gonna throw to the best matchup, and that's who the ball's going to.
Yep. And he's nailed it
this year when you don't have Rashee Rice, don't have Hollywood Brown, you don't have your top wideouts. He's just throwing to. I need a body that's open. I'm throwing to that guy.
That's exactly right.
Kind of seeing some vintage Pat in a way, of just like
for sure it is. It's vintage Pat's.
Like I'm probably gonna drop him pretty soon. I'm not gonna start him. Like he's almost unstartable.
Yeah, you can't start him.
I mean, 154 yards, 2 picks, and but for his career-long run and in for a 1-yard touchdown, he got 12 points. But you take away that, and he was like 5 freaking points. And he's still
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, he was Stroud until he ran in the end zone.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only difference is he got a touchdown running.
Yeah, and if you're right that it's tough if you can start Patty in the playoffs. Now that would be a thing.
That'd be all right.
But regular season, Patty, I mean, literally could not care less about his statistics.
Right.
Like he is not looking to throw it. And I mean, I will say this is the first game that I listened to Brady because Brady had the Chiefs game, so I watched the Chiefs game. And I will say, I'll give props to Brady. He did a good job. I thought he's a good color guy. He's not obnoxious. He doesn't talk about himself too much. And he was giving Patty credit. He said, this is how you know a quarterback has reached like maturity when he does not care how many yards he's throwing for. He does not care. It's, am I winning? Am I winning the game? And
am I
Patty
getting kneel downs at the end? Yes, I am.
What do I need to do to win the game? And on Sunday, it was hand the ball to Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
And do a couple key scrambles, and we're good.
Make couple big plays when I need to.
We used to give Brady crap all the time for throwing his 2-yard screen passes and letting the guy rumble for 30 yards. And now Mahomes hits Kelsey on a 2-yard screen.
Right.
It's a game.
It all makes sense.
It does.
Son of a, that's how you win games.
Right.
It's crazy. High percentage and good defense.
That's exactly right.
It's a good
So what do we think about this week as we turn the page to who's out there? So Dex, I know you were saying no buys this week, so that's good.
No buys. All the teams are playing. No free chicken this week. So everybody's out there. That's going to help everybody. The benches, you're going to have decisions more than anything else. Instead of oh, my guy's on bye. Now you have decision anxiety. This one gets you one more time.
Right.
But here's the deal. There's been so many injuries. So many. Like all over the place. Brandon Ayuk out. Godwin out. Evans out. Just go down the list, man. So that's just the most recent one I can pull off the top of my head.
Wide receivers are just
Shahid's out. Olave's back. I mean, it's just on and on. I think Debo's going to be out.
Is maybe playing, but he had liquid in his lungs as of pneumonia.
He was in the hospital until today.
Yeah. That seems bad.
I mean, Debo's tough, but let's get the water out of your lungs, man. I don't want you to die. I like watching Debo play.
Right.
So just get healthy first. So
4 snaps, I think, on Sunday.
So instead of having sick Debo and broke Ayuk, I'm having a guy who just got shot. That is my shrewdness sleeper, Ricky Pearsall.
Yes.
The guy who got shot in preseason is the most healthy option for wide receiver for the Niners right now.
That's true.
So
pretty much skill player.
Yeah, and they're going against the most porous defense in the league right now. They're home against Dallas. So Ricky Pearsall, rookie wideout, I think Florida, right? He's going to be home against
Florida guy.
Dallas, who's already nicked, beaten down. And even if they score, great. I hope Dallas scores because that means Pearsall will be used even more.
That's
so
right.
My shrewdness sleeper this week is wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, San Francisco. Book him, baby. Let's get some points for you.
I like it. That's a good one. Well, let's talk about my shrewdness sleeper for last week, which was Dante Foreman. That was a really, really, really bad pick, and I hope no one listened to me at all because Dante Foreman, who I thought was going to take the lead role in Cleveland, Chubb was coming back. I figured he'd be on a count for sure. This is his first game back, and he was, but evidently Dante Foreman was not the next option because he had 2 rushes for 5 yards. So if you needed a half a point, he was your guy. He was your guy. But that was my first miss, I believe. So I'm going to go back to getting a shrewdness sleeper for you that's going to hit. And this is a little bit out of bitterness. But I dropped Tyler Conklin before this week because I was like, hey, I don't need him. I've got Travis Kelce. And Tyler Conklin caught a touchdown pass. And Tyler Conklin has become kind of a good target, especially in the red zone for Aaron Rodgers. He seems to be very comfortable with him. He's pretty reliable. And I think he's going to put up a game against New England. So I think it's a get-well game for the Jets. And I think he gets a touchdown again, probably 4 or 5 catches. So Tyler Conklin, he's only owned in 29% of the leagues. You probably got a good chance to still get him, and I think he'll do well for you this week. Prue, who do you got as your shrewdness sleeper this week?
So last week I had Drake May, who had a very healthy game.
He did.
Plus points against Jacksonville.
276 yards, 2 tutties, 18 rush yards.
Great week for him.
Yeah. So that was a big pickup. Don't you wish you had Drake May instead of CJ Stroud on your team?
Yeah, I would have loved to have had Drake May.
You'd have your head on.
I would.
Should have listened. Should have listened.
I know.
I should.
While we're on Drake May, real quick, before you do your next one, I forgot to talk. My shrewdness sleeper last week did not hit. I went back to the well with Demario Douglas. And despite the great game we're talking about from Drake May, 276 yards. In the previous week, Douglas had 6 for 92 and a touchdown, feeling pretty good. No, not this time. This time he had 1 catch, I think. No, 2 catches for 14 yards. That's it. And then
I know, because I listened to your shrewdness sleeper, Dex. I picked the wrong shrewdness sleeper in our group to go with.
It is. And then Kendrick Bourne, welcome back. Hasty, I don't even know his first name. Hooper, KJ Osborne. They all decided to outproduce Demario Douglas. And I know he went out at half. But the first freaking half, 2 for 14? Come on, man.
And he did come back.
Did he come back?
At the very end of the game.
But that was good. I did watch him do nothing at the end of the game.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Yeah, flu-like symptoms or something. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, blah, blah.
So we missed.
So we only hit
one out of 3.
Hey, 1 out of 3 is great. Like we said, if you can get 25% on a 25% on shrewdness sleepers, because we're talking about people that are less than 40% owned. That's good.
So we're 5 for 12.
That's a really good hit percentage.
42%.
That's really good, actually, for sleepers. Bad. So I think if you go with one of those 2 guys now, Prue, yours this week?
This week, Jameson, wide receiver for Detroit, got caught using PEDs. So the next man up for the Detroit Lions this week is Khalif Raymond. He's only owned in 4.3% of leagues. They're playing Tennessee, who has a strong rush defense. So I think Gibbs and Montgomery will have a tough time moving the ball, and they're going to have to throw a little bit more. And, one would think that Amon-Ra will be covered heavily. And so I like Khalif Raymond against the second-best cornerback for Tennessee.
Whoever that might be.
Which will be Awuzie, not Snead, probably.
It's not Snead.
It's not Snead. All right, so if you got the injuries, here's a recap. So we got Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver San Fran, home against Dallas. We got Tyler Conklin, New York Jets tight end, home against the New England Patriots. And then we got Khalif Raymond, wide receiver for Detroit. And, so that's our shrewdness sleepers. They're all under 40%, and we expect them to get close to 10 points a pop. Welcome, Lou.
Lou is back.
Buddy.
Lou is back. We're going to get to picks in a second, but maybe since Lou just joined, you guys want to do a segment on the Chiefs for our Chiefs fans out there?
Let's do it.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, so this week, Kansas City, so they were on a bye last week. We didn't talk about the Chiefs. I got to say, I have never been more impressed with a coaching staff in my life than I have with the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff. The amount of injuries that have happened to this team in a very short – I know there's injuries all over the NFL, but like the substantial injuries that have happened to the Chiefs – and another one just happened, by the way. Just lost Jalen Watson for the year. So we're going to be starting a rookie corner on one side. But the amount of wizardry they have done. And like the 49ers, I get it. Debo was out. Ayuk got hurt late, but Debo was out. And McCaffrey's out. But like,
I'm sorry.
This is
can I jump in real quick on the?
Yeah.
I would go with Ricky Pearsall. Was that already picked?
Oh, we got him.
Yep.
Darn it.
It's a good pick.
Dexter picked him. That's a good pick, though.
We got a good pick. We have played the 49ers, and Kyle Shanahan is a good coach. I think everyone would say he's a good football coach. We played them 5 times. We've beaten them 5 times. Yeah. Twice in Super Bowls. And honestly, this game was not even nearly as close as the score. This was like a behind the woodshed little brother beatdown that happened. And this was with Patrick Mahomes basically saying, I'm not going to throw. I'm not throwing the ball this week. My right arm's a little tired. I'm not going to throw this week.
That's what's kind of been funny about the Chiefs this year is that they seem to be blowing people out and they're only up 3. But it feels insurmountable 3 points. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, yeah, we're up 3, but it's really like 30. And it just feels that way each week. Like, we've been around a minute watching Chiefs football. And, God, being up 10 before used to be nerve-wracking. Like, oh, God, we'll never be able to stop. And then if we do, we're not going to score. We're going to do some dumb pick. Or we're going to do 3 and out and punt. Now it's like, I don't even care if we punt. Because that means they're only going to go like 10 yards next time. And then we'll get the ball. It's like field position's kind of fun to watch now. It's just so weird. Because we went from an offense that was scoring like 45 points a game like a few years ago with Patty. And now we're just in this, he throws like 150 yards. And
we're like an advanced version of the Steelers.
Yeah, and it's like you guys, Game of Thrones. You guys watched Game of Thrones, right?
Oh yeah.
When Arya became the faceless faceless warrior, right? Whatever she needed to be. The Chiefs become whatever they need to be to beat you. Yeah. And that's what's got to be scary to the rest of the NFL. Like they have to look at this roster and they go, okay, Travis Kelce has done jack crap this year.
Yeah. Whole bunch of nothing.
You have Xavier Worthy as your 1. Juju Smith-Schuster, maybe, if he plays as your 2. We had Sky Moore running routes out there, guys. Sky Moore was a substantial part of the offense.
Who has the same number of catches that I do this year.
There we go. I was going to say, it wasn't. He was just out there. He was like MVS again. He's kind of out there moving a cornerback away, maybe getting a safety to wiggle.
They threw him the ball over the middle, right? And somebody, who was it, Brady maybe, was like, hey, Sky Moore with his first catch of the season. And then 12 seconds later, they're like, oh, never mind. He dropped it.
Oh, wait. Yeah. We forgot that required actually a set of hands.
Must actually catch the ball. Yeah.
But, I mean, how petrifying must it be? Oh, and we took a running back off the scrap heap that the Cleveland Browns didn't want. And we're like, you know what? He's our feature guy. This is who we're going to ride.
We're going to give it to that guy 25 times a game.
Did you see the list of running backs this season who are averaging 20 carries per game?
No.
Is it a list of 1?
It's a list of 1. Kareem Hunt. That's it.
You are kidding me.
Nope. He's the only running back who's averaging 20 carries a game.
30-year-old Kareem Hunt.
Wow.
is
awesome.
averaging, and he looks great.
Like it's 2018. I mean, the guy
looks
doesn't
great.
have a lot of miles on his tires because he's played half seasons, he's played partial seasons.
Right.
He's kind of got a little bit of that Jamal Charles syndrome, where like Jamal Charles didn't play very much, but when he played, he was really good. So
right. And you kind of go, like, you look at this and you go, if I'm the rest of the league, I go, wait a second. This guy was available, right? This running back, anyone in the league could have picked him up. And the Chiefs pick him. And then, like, everyone else is like, you know what? No, we'll pass.
Well, his advanced numbers, everything looked like it was gone. Like, I would also say, like, Mixon was the same way. Like, Mixon cashed. And then all of a sudden he gets down to Houston and Mixon looks great. All the numbers said that you should not have taken a chance on Hunt. And sometimes
except
you can
for
just
Hunt.
find the right thing. I don't know.
Yeah. But doesn't it just feel like right now, and I mean, I think we can relish this a little bit because we lived through the crap. But it feels like, honestly, I could put Ryan Pruitt in a Chiefs jersey right now, and he would produce like like a madman.
I don't know. Carson Steele was okay.
True.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
P. Ryan has been okay. Like, we haven't necessarily gotten the production until we got Hunt, and then Hunt's looked great. And I don't know, man. I mean, I track a lot of this stuff, and everybody's like, oh, what's wrong with Patrick Mahomes and, like, the national media? And I don't know. I feel like all the Chiefs fans are kind of like, this is what Patrick does. Like, I just don't think he really cares what other people think as long as he wins the game.
Yep.
He's going to go out there and just kind of do what he thinks he needs to do to win the game. He's like,
absolutely.
I would do the whole Bruce Lee analogy. Like, I feel like he is moving to a new stage of how to play football, and he's leaving technique behind. He's gotten so good.
Yeah.
And he's not out there. He's not doing the things that you would think he would need to do to win, but he knows what he needs to do to win. He's just going to do that. And if
for sure.
Running down the sideline for 30-plus yards.
He's just going to rely on that defense.
And the little pump fakes that get you like 2-3 extra yards because people will actually jump and fall. And I mean,
he'll throw it sometimes though. You always have to actually respect it. He will.
I do want to go ahead and have the moment of truth here. I love the fact that he got a huge run. I hate the fact that he kind of used the sideline and it kind of. I hate that.
You can't complain if you get trucked one time.
I want him to be protected and not get absolutely annihilated when he's already out of bounds. But then he's going to use the out of bounds. I personally have always hated that. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah. No, I mean, you gotta be okay if he gets trucked if he's going to do that.
Yeah. And the super late slides when you're running as a quarterback.
Well, it's like, who was it a few years ago that did the fake slide, and they outlawed it because
that was a college game, right?
It was a college kid that did a fake slide, and then it was super smart, right? He used the rule to his advantage, and they won the game. But it was like, hey, that's cheap. And then they're like, okay, you can't do that anymore. I mean, I think you got to be okay with him taking the hit. But you're right, Dex. When he pump fakes, like he did the shovel pass to the guy earlier in to Worthy. It's like you've got to respect the pump, because he could potentially do it. And I think the thing is, Lewis, you're exactly right. He doesn't care what people think. And I've noticed now, as a fan who's watched a lot of his games, that I see him in the game. Like, I saw one route in particular this game. He had Kelsey wide open. Of course, I wanted him to throw to Kelsey because he was on my fantasy team, but he didn't. And because he was working on – He saw something, and then you saw him afterwards. He was talking to Kelsey, and they were like, yeah. He's thinking way ahead. It's not at all like, oh, I got to get this. I need to get this to this open player. He's like, I'm up by 7. I'm going to work some stuff right now. I need to get some other guys involved. I need to try this. I need to work that. He's not padding stats. And that is a completely different level, because most NFL quarterbacks are like, how do I get this ball to someone who's open and remotely open? That's all they're worried about. It's like, get this ball out of my hands.
Yep.
So I don't get flattened by Mr. Defensive End that's coming from my
Which
blind
is normally
side.
a good idea. You don't usually want to hang on the ball. If you hang on to the ball too long, you get trucked and squished and sacked and broken.
Right.
But he just always seems to have that pocket awareness. It's just the best I've ever seen. Just wiggling.
It truly is that analogy of slow motion. It feels like the game's slow motion to him.
Yeah, it's the Matrix.
Where he's like,
he's watching the bullets fly.
Okay, I can look at these receivers, and it seems like he's doing it so quickly now.
Yeah.
That
I actually believe at this point that he's moved on to another level that we aren't even like. I bet you he's intentionally taking bad plays and bad series to set up a series down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's going to have a better outcome on a series that's more important by it's like we were talking about that Greg Maddux. When Greg Maddux grooved a fastball to Bagwell.
Jeff Bagwell.
And he was like, why would you do that? I let him hit a home run on purpose because I'm going to play him in the playoffs. Like,
right.
I bet you Mahomes is like, I don't care if I win this game. If he lose this game, I'm fine. Because I set up this defensive back to think I'm going to do this one thing in this setting. And then we lose this game, oh no. But I play him in the playoffs. I'm going to get him to bite on that. And then I'm going to get the outcome I wanted in 6 months. I don't care about today's game. I'm already 6-0 right now. We can burn games. I bet you
and the magic
some games.
Oh yeah. And the magic that you have of him with Andy Reid, who wants to like push the envelope all the time, and Steve Spagnuolo, who you're like,
hold up. Did you just Brady his name? Did you intentionally Brady his name?
Spagnolia.
That's what he said.
Kept doing it all game, and I wanted to die.
Game. He said Spagnolia.
Just say Spags.
Spags. But like, did you guys see? I wanted to bring this up on the podcast. Did you see the play that they had this game where in the backfield was Kelsey?
Yeah. NFL.com posted it.
Wentz, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it ended up being such a vanilla play, but I bet they have 5 more that'll
like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell do we do with this?
I bet they have 5 more that they'll run eventually this season off of that formation.
And sometimes you got to think that these things are just jank and stupid, but they're thinking outside the box and they're willing to innovate when other people are like, hey, we just need to go out there and just, run plays, or we're going to try to do a trick play. And it's like, we're not just doing trick plays. We're doing stuff that nobody would have possibly thought about, bringing in our backup quarterback to run as a running back out of nowhere. I mean, it's great. It gets Wentz a little bit of juice in the game. Like, great.
Totally. Totally. I mean,
I was waiting for Wentz to pitch it to Mahomes, and then,
Yeah, right.
There's no rule that you can't bring in and out your backup quarterback, right? Am I missing?
They're just a player, man. That's why Taysom Hill's on the hill or the team field all the time.
That's right.
That's right. I would not doubt they do that this year. In the middle of the game, they just bring in Carson Wentz to run like a series, just to get him some game action.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just freak everybody out, and then just be like, we just wanted to get him a rep.
Right.
Pitch to Mahomes and then have Wanya Morris leak out again for a second.
Totally. Another touchdown.
It's too easy to just throw it to him. We got to pitch it first and then throw it to him.
So this feels like a high school offense, and then it also feels like the most advanced thing we've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. So coming this week, well, I got a question to pose to you guys before we talk about the Raiders and get our picks. I know this is hypothetical, but this is what we do. Okay, so my son asked me this the other day. Okay, the Chiefs are 6-0, only undefeated team in the league right now. We're going for a three-peat. It is highly unlikely, nor do any of us think that we're going to be undefeated towards the end of the year. But let's play this game. You're undefeated headed into the final week of the season. You have a chance to break the record and have an undefeated year. Do you do it, or do you rest people to go for the three-peat?
It's not close.
If they're undefeated, they've already got a bye.
Gotta buy.
They're already going to get 1 week off. I hate 2 weeks off because then you really have 3 weeks between playing real games.
Yeah, but you could break Patty's leg.
Yeah, that's why we got Carson Wentz. And we'll just hope it never has to happen. Right? You don't want that to happen. You can never be afraid to play.
So Luke is without a doubt. He is without a doubt benching the starters.
Absolutely.
Correct?
It's all. I mean,
all of
that's
them?
cool, but like the degree of difficulty for winning an NFL championship is just it's too much, man. You take
Especially
whatever line you can to make things the best that they can be. Which doesn't mean ever read your lines, by the way. You're a deep dude.
It's because I was in mourning, okay? I did not care. Okay?
He got last
you
this week.
Understand. You have to sympathize with me. Give me a 24-hour mourning period. Dear God, man.
All right.
So I got to agree with Lou on this one. I think you got to play the bigger game. Go for the.
It is smart. Yeah.
Who do they play week 18 anyways? Like
so
probably somebody
they
could beat with their backups.
Probably
an AFC West matchup, and they probably are going to suck.
Is it the Raiders again? No, it's Denver.
No,
I think it's Denver.
Yeah, whatever. It's Denver. Like, I'm sorry, Denver's going to beat us one of these two games, anyways. These AFC West games suck. I hate them. Only one of them. I wouldn't even get caught up in it.
Pretty sure we have Denver the last.
Well, I will say this. So I'm throwing this out here, right? You got the Raiders this week.
At Denver.
You got the Raiders this week.
Yep.
You got the Buccaneers next week at home on Monday Night Football. And they're broken, horribly broken right now. Then you have the Broncos at home. Then you're at the Bills. So is the first predictable chance to lose is probably at the Bills, correct?
Yeah.
Would you agree, Dex, Lou?
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be a great game.
According to the data, right? According to the data.
Those are always
we tend to lose to Buffalo in the regular season, and I think, again, this may be even by design. Like, I don't think they necessarily go all out because they know if they play them again, they would rather win the second game. And,
I mean, the sad thing is you look at this schedule, guys. Like, if you win that game, then you're at the Panthers, home for the Raiders, home for the Chargers, at Cleveland, home for the Texans. That could be a difficult game.
We had a brutal schedule, and we've already gone through a lot of the brutal. And
then you've got at Steelers. Like, there are two road games that you're probably you're probably a underdog. You're an underdog at Bills. You're probably not an underdog at Steelers though, and that may be the only other game that we are not favored in the season.
So we said early on, I think we kind of landed on 12-5 would be kind of a worst case scenario.
Well, I didn't expect to win most of the games we've already won.
Right. No, we've already cleared 3 of the hurdles that we thought were maybe losses.
I mean,
so Bills and either Texans or Steelers, but I don't think we're losing both of those.
Like,
so we could legit go.
Guys, our number one wide receiver is Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
Do you understand the magnitude of what is happening here?
Who weighs less than any of us? Right?
Well, that may be, but our number one wide receiver may be Deontay Johnson or
Cooper Kupp,
or Cooper Kupp. I mean, that we're not paying a second. I mean, that's insane. Like, he may not play. Even if we traded for him, he may not play for us because the guy may be hurt. So,
right,
it's got to be baked into whatever. Like,
Well, okay, so that's a good question. What do you trade for Kupp? What would you be willing to trade for Kupp?
I mean,
what's the pick?
I'd give a first, but I don't know what I'm doing. I want to win a Super Bowl, and I'm always nervous that maybe this is it, and we aren't going to have another shot. So I might. Way too much.
He's probably
what's Beach doing? God. He knows what he's doing.
How old is Cooper Kupp?
30. 32.
I think it has to be conditional where, like, the better you do, the better the round goes.
Oh,
well, that's what they actually have on a lot of these guys.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So then it's not just going to be like, I'm giving you a first or I'm giving you a second. It's like normally like a third that goes up to a second or it goes down to a fifth if he just doesn't play, gets hurt the next game, stuff like that. Who knows?
What would you be comfortable? I would, without hesitation, throw a third.
Yeah, yes. Third, done and done.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, with the
because he's a 32-year-old wide receiver, like.
But
you're not gonna get
if they got Cooper Kupp and he played at a 80% of his Triple Crown year, their Super Bowl odds would drop to like plus 100 or something right now. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, if you had Patrick Mahomes with,
what is it today with Xavier Worthy as your one? What are the odds, Lewis?
Well,
you always know this.
And
what are the odds for us here?
Too.
McCole Hardman's here too.
I took that bet several weeks ago, and it was plus 500, and that was before.
I got it at plus 600 at the beginning of the season. It's really not moved very much. Like plus 450, it's dropped to plus 450, but the Ravens are plus 550. Everybody's really going nuts over the Ravens.
5 receivers and our starting running back, and our odds dropped.
Well, our odds dropped because everybody's buying Kareem Hunt as being like real.
Yeah,
like people are buying
Pacheco's
into
coming
that.
back. He's on the treadmill.
Dude, I can't wait to see Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in the same backfield.
Again, oh my God! Wow! After this last game, Patrick Mahomes was the MVP favorite up until Lamar Jackson played on Monday night. And now Lamar Jackson jumped to plus 195. That's an insanely high thing for an MVP.
Wow.
Mahomes dropped to 470. Allen is 650. So they really bought into that Lamar Jackson's going to like buck all of his trends and play perfect for the rest of the year.
Well, I mean, last year he was an MVP.
Yeah. He's won it twice, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's just really good until it comes to the playoffs.
He's got 2 to 3 turds in the bowl coming, though.
For sure he does.
Always does.
For sure he does. He's without fail. It'll be a game against like Carolina or something where you're like, "What is going on?" And he'll just not show up.
So, Shrewdness listeners, you probably, if you've listened to the show more than once, you probably know that I'm fairly reserved and do not get upset easily compared to my co-host here. But when I saw Lamar being Lamar and not getting tackled last night, when I was watching my fantasy lead dwindle, I was yelling profanities at my TV. Like, how can nobody on this team tackle Lamar Jackson? He's an incredible athlete.
He is. I mean, at the end of the day,
he is an MVP type guy, but you got to win championships to be a real MVP.
That's the problem. There's regular season MVPs and there's postseason MVPs. And Lamar Jackson is a regular season MVP, which is great. And 10 years ago, 5 years ago, well, I don't know. When did Mahomes start? 8 years ago?
7 years ago.
We would have been real happy with Lamar Jackson. We would have loved to have Lamar Jackson on this team.
Just to make the playoffs would have been great 7 years ago.
I was peachy keen with Alex Smith. I didn't see anything wrong with Alex Smith. Yeah. So, I mean, perspectives change. Like when you see greatness, you recognize greatness. And
speaking of greatness, let's roll into our picks for this week.
Let's hit them. Speaking of greatness, so we're not going to talk about how we did last week because it was an anomaly, and this is ridiculous. Like, this is insanity, and
We've hit rock bottom. We've hit rock bottom. We had Brody Croyle at quarterback last week for us.
We're done.
Yeah, and
we're scraping rock bottom. We haven't bounced yet.
This is one of those. Fade us. I think we're at the
You can fade us. It's fine.
Yep. Fade
Make
away.
money somehow.
Last week, just quick rehash. I'm not going to live it again.
Oh.
So took Atlanta -3. They've been playing well. Just kidding. They're going to lose 34-14 to the traveling Seattle Seahawks, who traveled the country and then beat on them. Even though 17-14 in the middle of the third quarter, that game got quickly out of hand. Then we had the New York Giants. So Chisholm took a turd game, but he picked the wrong turd. So Philadelphia in their turd play beat New York Giants in their turd play. And not only beat them, 28-3. So the 3 points, we needed 25 more for a push. Just missed it. So
close.
Yeah. So now we needed 23 in the first game for a push, 25 the next. So we had proof. Like, thank God we have someone that knows what they're doing here. Miami's
by the way, the teaser doesn't. We didn't have 25-point teasers either. We had 6-point teasers.
Yeah, we didn't have quite enough. So we have Miami plus 3.5 in a low-scoring slugfest of just disgusting football. Like, this is a slam dunk.
Leading 10-3 at the half.
Yeah.
Plus 3 points. So comfortable lead at halftime.
We had a 6-point cushion. Yep. And lost 16-10. So Miami, they choked it for us too. We went 0-3. First 0 for week. Boy, I don't even know.
This year.
It's been a long time.
I don't remember the last time we had an 0 for week.
I will look
we usually at least get one.
Yeah, so we got it out of the way. So let's move into this week. I'm going to start
It's going to be blazing the last 10 weeks of the season here.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, if you've been fading me all year, you've got your yacht. And that's why I keep saying, just keep fading. It'll be all right. I'm okay with it.
That's not true. Week 1, you nailed it, Dex.
I did.
You nailed week 1.
Jacksonville nailed week 1. Now it's the last one. And they frankly would have done good this week, but I was done with them. So I am going to take, and I don't even, whatever. Atlanta minus 2.5. On the road at Tampa Bay. Tampa lost all their wideouts. They have no momentum whatsoever. Bad Baker showed up. He's been there for a while now. Even though he threw up great fantasy stats.
Right.
It wasn't really a great game. He hasn't been playing well at home.
No.
Kirk Cousins hasn't really had back-to-back bad games. They had a bunch of weird stuff happen last game. I think Atlanta rights the ship. They get a 3-point win at the end of the game. Young Wei comes through, and here we go. So
I'm with
Atlanta
it.
minus 2.5. Let's go. Let's get one on the board.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Let's take a quick pause. I found the last time that we went 0 for 4 in a week.
Okay. And?
Does anyone have any guesses?
Last year, week 7.
I'm going to go 2 years ago, week 3.
I just remember that we did really well after we did. We had an offer, and then we did really well after that. I just remember like that was something that helped. Was going
our last offer was week 17 of 2022.
Woo! Oh, we didn't even have one last year. That's awesome.
All right.
No offers last year.
Okay.
And week 17 is a weird one because that's when everybody's resting starters. So
that doesn't even count, really.
Now we also had one. Week 14, just a few weeks ahead of that one.
It was a rough patch.
So, all right.
But we also had, I think I mentioned this on a previous show too, we had a 6-week stretch in 2022 where we had 4 bets a week and we missed 3 total bets in 6 weeks.
Wow, that was smoking. Woo-hoo. We should have yachts from that. We should. What are we doing?
Then I gave back the Back to the Future book.
Yeah, that's right.
Biff stole it back. Dang it, Biff.
So they're like, fine, you can have it.
We can still rebound from our.
We're going to rebound, okay? Like, listen. This is ridiculous. We're done with this. This is the tomfoolery's over. Dex just gave you the pick number 1 for the week.
Yep.
I'm giving you pick number 2. Pick number 2. And this is not even close. Listen, folks. This is my Joe Biden. Listen. The Eagles, they're not a good team. They're not a good team, folks. Let me tell you, they're not good. Okay? And furthermore, they're not good. So we're gonna go with the Bengals minus 2.5 at home.
The Bengals, let's go.
The Bengals are not a bad team. They're not. I got to tell you something. Let me tell you something. The Bengals are going to win. They're going to win. Minus 2.5. Lock it up.
You realize I'm editing all this.
Nice work. You don't need to edit. That's perfect. He nailed it. All right. Lewis, you got one?
All right.
Well, I tell you, my lock without, we didn't connect, but my lock was Cincinnati as well.
Now you know
That was my lock. That I thought well, there's no chance anybody's going there. They're just in that they're in that spot where Cincinnati.
This is when they win.
This
is when they win.
Philadelphia is in a garbage division, and they could play 500, and they're still probably going to be right there at the end.
And Philadelphia sucks. They're so bad.
Something's wrong there for sure. They barely have won against some bad teams.
But maybe your coach trash talking the opposing fans. Maybe that's not what you want. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe not ideal.
Just a thought.
Right,
maybe you should focus on the game.
You want to rethink? All right, Pruitt,
you go. Somebody else go because the one I just grabbed in my head. I don't know if I'm still.
All right.
Think through it. So far we got Dex with Atlanta. Chisholm's taking Cincinnati. I'm going to go up north. I'm going to go to Green Bay.
The frozen tundra.
They are not up north this week. They are traveling to Jacksonville. But Green Bay absolutely dominated the defensive line, limiting C.J. Stroud, who is a very solid quarterback, to 80
last week
yards.
It wasn't.
So I think they're going to continue their hot streak with their defense. Going to give Jacksonville a lot of trouble. And then Jordan Love is going to light up Jacksonville's secondary that's been torched the last few weeks. So I see Green Bay running away with this one, actually.
Jacksonville sucks, too.
Ladder
it. Should we ladder it, Brew?
Let's ladder it.
You can ladder it if you want to, yeah.
Ladder it to 31.
Ladder it to 50.
Ladder it to...
I don't know, man. I'm a little bit anxious that there is a scenario where Jacksonville found something. They probably didn't, but there is a scenario where they got right, and now the talent that people were predicting possibly was going to win that division. I'm not vetoing it anyway, and I think we can totally go Green Bay, but I'm definitely not laddering it. I definitely have anxiety over that going the wrong.
Ladder it to -6.5.
Ladder it. Go to 6.
Ladder it.
They're going to
-5. At least, go crazy.
All right. Let's go, Lou.
All right, Lou.
Back up.
Yeah, I got to back up.
All right.
You know what? I'm just going to go for a public super square Buffalo +3.
Okay. That's funny. And I'm glad you're doing it. Because someone who's been ice cold was going to take the other side of that. So I'm really happy that you chose that game. So Buffalo.
He made me take the other one because I've been actually hitting my other ones. I'm still up on all my crap. I just can't win this particular one. Like the locks aren't very locky. So that's good.
All right, Buffalo.
I'm just
minus.
I've watched enough Seattle, and I am not impressed.
Jekyll and Hyde, Seattle.
The ones that just beat my last bet. I'm going back to Atlanta because I'm a glutton for punishment. They just disappointed me. And I could go with Tampa, but they disappointed me when I picked Tampa. Seattle would disappoint me, and I'm glad you did that. So
everyone disappoints me.
We're gonna go 4-0 this week. We're buying a yacht. Let's go do this.
I'm telling you, I may ladder all 4 of these games.
Ladder them.
Shrewdness listeners, I'm going to come back with a stat next week on how many times we bet on Atlanta in the last 2 years.
And Seattle. Those two teams seem to be just who the lines go.
I think
I will say this.
I think we started out way too hot. I think Lewis bet Atlanta a ton last year, and he started out really hot.
Yeah,
then we just got addicted to it.
Hey, here's the other thing, guys. I'll throw this in as a bonus bet, and I will never bet it because it's just not right morally. But I do like the Raiders +10 against the Chiefs because the Chiefs don't blow out anyone ever. Never. They won't blow them out.
Cool. You say that. Okay.
Right.
And I'm never going to ever recommend betting on the Chiefs. But I did say this was the game that I was going to ladder the Chiefs hard. Because of the making fun of Patrick Mahomes thing. Like,
oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
He's the pettiest human being in the world, and if he's going to pick his spot to be petty,
that's fair, Lou. That's fair.
I think this is when he picks his like, oh, cool. You guys remember that whole like thing and call me Kermit and. You know,
I didn't think about that.
F around, find out, man.
He's probably going to wear a Kermit costume to the game this weekend.
He should. That would be baller.
Oh, my
like,
God.
this is funny, isn't it? Watch this.
Hey, look.
Watch this.
Hey, I'll tell you what. How about I Larry Bird this, and I'm only going to throw with my left hand this game. And I'm still going to beat you by 20.
That would be golden.
I'm just saying, I never bet on the Chiefs, but this is the one time I said I might actually take the Chiefs.
But there's also the chess element of this, Lou. Remember the last Raiders game. Remember that.
Oh, yeah.
So
I can see them losing to the Raiders just to keep Antonio Pierce around as long as possible.
Totally.
Hey, as it sounds, I would put it past them.
You know what?
Good coach. Good coach.
You know what? I think you found the answer with Gardner Minshew.
Oh, man.
That's your guy.
Guys.
That's your guy, Gardner Minshew.
Trading away Devontae was a genius move.
That's it. That'd be fun. All right, well, I think that's all we got for the week. We got any little alibis? We're good to go.
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
All right, did you have a sleeper you want to throw in for a Shrewdness sleeper? Just a last-ditch Hail Mary, Lou? And if not, it's all good.
Pearsall was the one I saw that I felt like has the best chance of doing
double down on
the issue we got now is that the sleeper element has to start moving up to 40, 50% because there's so many of these people that are decent. You shouldn't be putting on your roster because we're now in October, late October.
We'll start that next week. We'll bump our stuff up.
Most of your stuff is just you got to really kind of push the other direction. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so leagues are down to 11 teams now, which is the normal size for a fantasy league, 10 to 12 teams. So it's going to start feeling like a more normal roster.
Well, it's going to start. Yeah, I mean we're going to be in like the normal like 12-team leagues type stuff, and then you go into super like small leagues, and then of course everybody's an all-star team.
Yeah, so here in the next 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to be down to where you're starting pretty much star players up and down your lineup.
Yeah, but you also have to average like 12 points a game to feel safe.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Or you could get a 32-point game and still lose your head. You know, that's another way to do it.
You could take a 5-point performance from your quarterback.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Correctamundo.
All right. Well, we at the Shrewdness don't like to be bitter. So
no, but I'm going to be bitter for the rest of this episode.
Chisholm's going to be a little bitter this week.
A little salty.
He'll bounce back. He had a good team.
Salty.
Unlucky week. It happens. It's part of the magic of Guillotine fantasy football.
That's right.
That's what makes it fun, though. It's the sweat.
That's right.
It is.
That's right.
All right. Till next week.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Shrewdness Podcast signing off. Join us again next week. Like and follow if you find these tips useful. If you were smart enough to pick up Drake May, for instance, last week.
Absolutely.
Or bet against our 3 picks.
Yeah. Golden.
Anyway, we'll be back again in a week to talk more about how Week 8 goes or is going to go and the upcoming bye weeks teams for Week 9. So anyway, that's it for now. Shrewdness Podcast signing off. So long.